Hello everyone, I welcome you to my YouTube channel Professor Civil Mandal. Here I speak about civil engineering and you will find my various video lectures on various topics of civil engineering over here. So till in the last video we started discussion about the dimensional analysis where we read about the with different dimensions, units and different dimensions, the homogeneity principle of dimension analysis, and also two methods of dimensional analysis, that is Rayleigh method and the Buckingham Pi method. So after that, now we will head on to the next topic of this particular course. So I would like to tell you one thing: if you have not done the video lesson of the part 1 of this video, so please first watch the part 1, then only we will proceed for this part. The link is given in the description for the part 1 of dimension analysis. So let's start about the model and prototype analysis. So just try to guess what is a model and what is a prototype. So in order to secure the information about the performance of any hydraulic structure such as dam or any hydraulic machine such as turbine, before going for construction and manufacturing of the actual of the structure or the machine, models are prepared out of the actual structure or machine and experiments are carried out on the models to secure the results. Suppose if someone wants to manufacture a new design of a particular turbine or a pump, or if you want to construct a dam, so before you do that, just like other projects and researches, we also try to make one model of it before going on to define the actual thing. Suppose I am going to make a dam, I will first make the model of it and I will analyze this model regarding various factors like what can affect in a dam, that is the discharge or the flow of the water, or like the forces that are acting on the dam, and the moment due to the overturning or sliding. There are many things which we can actually take into account, but before doing the actual construction, we will first study the particular structure in with the help of some model quite similar to the actual structure. So the same thing actually works for any turbine or any other hydraulic machine. So just you can get an idea, the model is something which is like the prototype or the real thing, and we actually carry on the analysis, and prototype is the first appearance of the actual thing which we are going to make. That the prototype is actually the real thing. So if you want to write the difference between a model and a prototype, you can just say that a model is you can write it down in a piece of paper or somewhere. A model is a non-working representation. A model is a non-working representation used to illustrate the product and may be constructed at any stage in the product cycle. So what is a model? A model is a non-working representation used to illustrate the product and may be constructed at any stage in the product cycle. Wherever the prototype is a working representation, used to detect flaws or problems in advance of the production. So basically prototype is somewhat like the real thing, and it is actually, you can say, the first representation of that particular thing. Though it cannot be possible for a dam, but it is possible for some other things like our turbine or pumps. So like now the advantages of the dimensional and model analysis is that with the help of the dimensional model analysis, we can easily secure the information about the performance of actual machine or structure before going for manufacturing of the actual machine or structure, right? That we can easily secure the information related to it, like the whether it can withstand the particular forces which are supposed to be coming, or is it efficient enough or not, or the particular velocities or flows are available to it or not. So this can be actually be helpful for getting those informations, and it also defines the performance of the actual machine. If you are actually going to make the machine or the structure, it will actually give you one idea about the performance of it, that how it can work or not in our near future, after once it is manufactured or constructed. So before going for manufacturing of actual machine or the structure with us, we will be able to get the idea of the particular model. Now, with the help of the dimensional and model analysis, we can also consider the alternative design of the actual machine or structure, and we can select the most economical and safe design. Suppose you are getting any flaws or any defects, or if you are seeing that some replacement or some changes, little bit of changes will actually make it a highly economic and safe design, or if you are trying to remove any flaws that are available to that particular design, so that change in the design of the machine or the structure can also be possible with the help of this dimensional analysis. Again, with the help of the dimensional analysis and model analysis, we will secure the relationship between the variables influencing a flow problem in terms of dimensionless parameters, and this relationship will help in conducting the experiments on the model. So actually this model thing will help you to get some variables, the relationship between the variables which actually influence the problem. Suppose if you are trying to know what are the moments in a particular dam, suppose one is the moment due to the overturning, and one is the sliding moment, and so actually you can relate the forces or the parameters that are inducing that moment. So this again, this model analysis will also help you to get such relationship, and thus it will help in conducting the experiments on the model. So in this way actually you can conduct the experiments on the particular model. And so next we read about similitude. Similitude is basically defined as the similarity between model and its prototype in each and every aspect. So the similarity, if you are considering a model and a prototype, whatever similarity will be there, so that similarities or the types of similarities will be referred to as the similitude between of the model and the prototype. It suggests us that the model and prototype will have similar properties, or we can say that similitude explains the model and prototype will be completely similar. So this is one such factor, similitude, which will hold our reason good to say that, to confirm that the model and prototype are having some particular relationship or a particular similarity. So similitude is the thing which will define that. So the three types of similarities are the geometric similarity, kinematic similarity, and the dynamic similarity. What is a geometric similarity? So geometric similarity you can get through the basically the lengths or the different dimensions, the area and the volume. So what is it? So the geometric similarity is the similarity of shape. So considering the shape, whatever similarities are there, we will refer to as the geometric similarity. Geometric similarity is said to exist between model and prototype. So there must be some geometrical similarity, otherwise you cannot say that this model belongs to this prototype. And if the ratio of all respective linear dimension in model and prototype should be equal, and the ratio of the dimension of model and corresponding dimension of prototype will be termed as the scale ratio, that is LR. So suppose we are going to make one dam whose height is 5 meter and whose this dimension is suppose this dimension is height is 4 meter and this dimension is suppose 3 meter, and this is suppose 5 meter, this hypotenuse. So we will also make one prototype, we will make one model in this particular ratio of 3:4:5 of this particular sides for that dam. So otherwise it will have no meaning that if if it has some different dimensions or different ratios of size and or different ratios of the dimension, or if it has different size or different shape, then it will actually have no meaning for carrying the similitude or the model analysis of this particular dam, prototype dam. And all the lengths will be defined in terms of scale ratio, that is LR. So what is actually LR? LR is the scale ratio. And how is it defined? Suppose LP is the length of the prototype and LM is the length of the model. Similarly, BP and DP are the breadth and depth of the prototype, and BM and DM are the breadth and depth of the model, or even diameter also you can consider. So apart from the other dimension, we can also consider the diameters if it is somewhat like cylindrical or conical in shape. So the LP upon LM or BP upon BM or DP upon DM, that is the ratio of the one dimension of the prototype to the ratio of one dimension of the prototype to that of the same dimension of the model, is actually the scale ratio LR. So if I consider in terms of area now, the area of prototype upon the area of the model, it will be now equal to LR square, because area is length into breadth. So if it is suppose LP upon LM multiplied by BP upon BM, so I can say that this is LR. Also again it will be LR times LR, one for LP upon LM and one for BP upon BM. So in other words, the area, that is L into B, so it will be LR multiplied by LR, and thus it will be LR square. Similarly, the volume will be LR cube, because it will be like LP by LM multiplied by BP by BM upon multiplied by DP by DM. So it will be LR cube. So it is LR into LR into LR, and it will be LR cube. So the kinematic similarity is said to exist. Next we have the kinematic similarity, and it is said to exist between model and prototype if the ratios of velocities and acceleration at a point in the model and at the respective point in the prototype are same. So we have to consider a particular point in the prototype, and in that particular point of the model, the velocities and accelerations, which actually define the kinematics of a particular object. So these two things should be similar at those 2 points. Similar in the sense that Vp upon Vm should be having one ratio Vr, and also AP upon AM should have one ratio AR. It's not like that Vp will be equal to Vm, but it should maintain a particular ratio Vr. So, and this Vr ratio should be maintained at every points of that particular model and prototype. Similarly, AP upon AM is equal to AR is for acceleration ratio, and VR is the velocity ratio. Next we have the dynamic similarity, and it includes the forces. And the dynamic similarity is said to exist between model and prototype if the ratios of corresponding forces acting at the corresponding points are at the same. So you know one thing, that work done or energy is related through force. So also you can say dynamic similarity includes even the energy that is being considered at particular point of both model and prototype. So here we have the force. Fr is the force ratio, that is Fp upon Fm, where Fp is the force at the prototype and Fm is the force in the model at the same point. So next we move on to the next thing, that is the dimensionless numbers. So here we will be reading about few numbers which are dimensionless numbers, and actually these numbers will be useful for various calculations like Reynolds number. Next we have Froude number, Euler number, Weber number and Mach number. Actually these numbers come in various equations of fluid mechanics, and they do carry some particular meaning. So what is a Reynolds number? A Reynolds number of a flowing fluid could be defined as a ratio of the inertia force and the viscous or friction force. So wherever there is a ratio of the inertia force and the viscous or friction force, we will be able to determine the type of flow, that is the laminar, transient or turbulent flow. So if you remember, we actually used to derive the Reynolds number by considering the inertia force and the viscous force. So it is the ratio of the inertia and viscous force, and it helps us to determine whether a flow is laminar, transient or turbulent. So here are few conditions which are given. Also the conditions which we read in the previous, that is somewhere it is taken 2000 or somewhere it is taken 2300. So you can just make some note of this change. Preferably it is used as 2000 instead of 2300, and this is for a particular pipe flow. So RE is given by rho VL upon mu, where you know the significances of each and every term, what is rho, VL and what is mu. We have already discussed in our previous video lecture. And now if we also have a pipe or a duct which has a diameter d, you can write Reynolds number as rho Vd upon mu, where rho is the density, V is the velocity, d is the diameter, and mu is the dynamic viscosity. So the Froude number. A Froude number of a flowing fluid is also a dimensionless number, which is basically defined as the square root of ratio of the inertia force to the gravity force, and it is used in engineering applications in order to express the influence of gravity over motion. So Froude number is the ratio of, basically it is a ratio of inertia force to that of the gravity force, and it is given by, it is square root of the ratio of the inertia force to that of the gravity force. So it is therefore given by Fr is equal to inertia force by gravity force to the power 1 by 2, that is Fr is equal to V upon square root of Lg or root GL. So now just note one thing, if the Froude number is less than 1, the flow is called subcritical flow. If the Froude number is greater than 1, it is called supercritical flow, and if the Froude number is equal to 1, it is called critical flow. And this Froude number will have actually wide applications in open channel flow. When we'll be reading about the open channel flow, this Froude number will be having various significances, and it will also help us to determine the type of flow in the channel. Next is the Euler number. Euler number of a flowing fluid is also a dimensionless number, which is basically defined as the ratio of pressure forces to that of the inertia forces, and Euler number is quite important in determining the fluid flow dynamic problem, where difference of pressure between 2 points are important. So wherever you have a dynamic flow, the flow shall be dynamic. Note one thing, that the flow shall be dynamic, and you will also see the difference of pressure between 2 points. Then only the Euler number will be used, and it is the ratio of the pressure forces to that of the inertia forces. EU is the Euler number, and it is P upon rho V square, where P is the characteristic pressure, V is the velocity, and rho is the density of the fluid. Also, if there is a change in pressure, you can write delta P or del P in place of P. So the equation will become like del P upon rho V square. Next is the Weber number. The Weber number of a flowing fluid is also a dimensionless number, which indicates the ratio of inertia force to the surface tension force. And Weber number is quite important in determining the dominant energy between kinetic and surface tension energy. So the Weber number could also be used successfully in determining the thin film problems, and also in problems of formation of droplets. So whenever you will have droplets or thin films, so there will be something there actually the surface tension energy will come into significance. So just to know whichever is dominant among the kinetic energy and the surface tension energy, the Weber number is actually used, which is the ratio of inertia force to the surface tension force. So Weber number WE is rho v L square upon sigma, where V is the velocity of fluid flow, L is the characteristic length, sigma is the surface tension, and rho is the density of the fluid. Next is the Mach number. Mach number is also a very important dimensionless number which is widely used in fluid flow dynamic problems where compressibility plays a very important role. And Mach number of a flowing fluid will be defined as the square root of ratio of inertia force to elastic force, and we can write it as mentioned here. So the Mach number is represented by m, and it is the square root of inertia force and the viscous force, elastic force, and it is actually m is equal to v upon k upon rho to the power 1 by 2. So just I will tell you one thing. Let's read some more part is there. In some higher speed fluid flow problems, density will be dependent over pressure, and hence the effect of compressibility will be quite important in such fluid flow dynamic problems. So for some higher speed fluid flow problems, the density will be dependent over the pressure, and hence the effect of compressibility will be quite important in such fluid flow dynamic problems. So this is one application of the Mach number, where we have a higher speed fluid flow where the density will be dependent over the pressure also, and thus we will have to include the effect of compressibility, and thus we will have the Mach number. So Mach number in such flow dynamic problems will be used to determine the type of flow, that is compressible or incompressible flow, and will be expressed as m is equal to v upon c, where c is equal to k upon rho to the power 1 by 2, where v is the velocity of flow, c is the speed of sound, and k is the elastic stress. So using these 5 numbers, we have 5 model laws. So the 5 numbers which we read now, that is the Reynolds number, the Froude number, Euler number, Weber number, and Mach number, these 5 numbers are actually used to make 5 laws. So these are namely the Reynolds model law, that is this, and it is used for flow pipe, submarines, aeroplane, etc., and it is REM, which is equal to REP for model. REM is for model and REP is for prototype, and that is actually equal to this. It's just simple that you will write the formula of RE, that is rho Vd upon mu, in terms of model. So therefore it will be Vm, rho m, dm, and mu m, and it is equal to the Reynolds number for the prototype, and it is Vp, rho p, dp upon mu p. So, and since Re for model and Re for prototype will be similar, so this one will be also similar. So this is the Reynolds model law. Similarly, we have the Froude model law, which is somewhat like this, where Bm upon root Gm is equal to Vp upon root Gp Lp, because Froude number for both model and prototype shall be same. Also, Euler model law is like this, Weber model law is like this, and the Mach model law will be like this. So in other words, I want to say that we all know the formulas for these 5 numbers, and since the 5 numbers, that is the Reynolds, Froude, Euler's, Weber, and Mach numbers, will actually be applicable and hold good for both model and prototype. So we will say that the particular numbers are actually, or this particular number, whatever value we will be getting, will actually be equal for both model and prototype. It is correct for all the 5 numbers, and hence when we are using the formulas of those numbers, therefore the ratio whatever we are getting, or the equation which we are getting, are also equitable, or they are equable to each other. They can be equated to each other. And so now next, before moving on to the type of the models, I'll say one thing. It's better to learn all these 5 numbers by their particular definitions and their applications, so as mentioned here. And also this knowing the particular definition will also help us learn their formulas, and actually these 5 numbers will be very useful for various problems. So next we have the types of models. So quickly we will read about the types of the models, and then we will be shifting to the numericals. The types of models are, one is the undistorted model, and next is the distorted model. Undistorted models are those models who are geometrically similar to their prototype. So they are basically geometrically similar to their prototype. They are the undistorted models, and those models who are geometrically not similar to their prototype are the distorted models. So sometimes it happens that we are not able to make a model 100% exactly, and it's like that there will be somewhat geometrical differences between the model and the prototype, and then thus that model will be known as the distorted model. But for the undistorted model, it is not true that therefore the geometrical the model and the prototype will be geometrically similar, and therefore you can say that the scale ratio for the linear dimension of the model and prototype are same, but the scale ratio for linear dimension of the model and prototype would not be same for the distorted models. For example, if the horizontal and vertical scale ratios for model and prototype are same for a river, then it is undistorted model. In this case, the depth of the water in the model becomes very small, which may not be measured accurately. So actually, if you are considering a river, so river, the shape is very irregular. The bed of the river has a very irregular shape, and if you are going to make it quite similar, a model which is quite similar to this river, so you will not actually consider the minute undulations which are there in that river. So thus it will make that somewhat undistorted. The model will be made somewhat distorted as compared to the actual model, actual prototype or the real river. Thus for cases thus for these cases we will use the distorted models, because in this case the depth of the water in the model becomes very small, which may not be measured accurately. So therefore we will also keep some variations in the model. We actually distort the model, and thus it becomes useful for studying such cases. The advantages of distorted models are: the vertical dimension of the model can be measured accurately, the cost of the model can be reduced, and finally the turbulent flow of the model can be maintained. So these are 3 advantages of the distorted models. So let us now start solving some numerical related to models and prototypes. So the question says, find the scale ratio for the following dimension in terms of LR. So in terms of LR, we have to find the scale ratios for the following dimensions. So first of all, LR is equal to actually LP upon LM. We all know it. First is area. Area is, suppose, length LR. Area is length into breadth. So I can say it for area LP into BP upon LM times BM, length into breadth. Suppose it is length into breadth, or even you can write LP square or LM square, or you can write LP square by LM square similarly. So basically 1 LP upon LM is LR and Bp upon Vm is also length, so you can write it as Lr again, so it is equal to Lr square. Similarly, volume is Lp times Bp times, suppose I am taking Hp, and Lm times Bm times Hm. You can also write Lp cube upon Lm cube. So it is similarly Lr times Lr times Lr, and it will be Lr cube, considering suppose H as the third dimension. So now next is time. So for time, what we will do, let us consider Tr, a separate scale ratio, Tr, that will be equal to Tp upon Tm, that is the time for prototype upon time for model. So time can be written as L upon V for prototype by L upon V for model, and it is Lp upon Lm times Vm upon Vp. So note one thing, that Vm upon Vp is Vp upon Vm is always considered square root of Lr, and also Tp upon Tm is also considered square root of Lr, and that's why Vp times Tp upon Vm times Tm is equal to square root of Lr times square root of Lr, and that is equal to Lr, right? Because velocity multiplied by the time will be giving us the distance, that is length Lr, and it is true for both model and prototype. So therefore it is considered that the scale ratio for both velocities and times are actually square root of Lr. So in this case I can write this thing as Lr, this thing can be written as Lr, and Vm upon Vp can be written at square root of Lr. So I will be proving it as square root of Lr. And similarly for velocity, you can say that it is for C and D, both for time and velocity we will have square root of Lr. So next we have the acceleration. Acceleration can be written as velocity upon time, right? So let us consider AR is equal to AP upon AM, acceleration of prototype upon acceleration of model, and it is equal to VP upon TP times Tm upon Vm, because it is Vp upon Tp upon Vm upon Tm multiplied, it will be like this, and so it will be equal to Vp upon Vm times Tm upon Tp. So both of it are actually square root of Lr times 1 by square root of Lr, and if I actually cancel it, it will be equal to 1. So scale ratio, or you can say it as Lr to the power 0. So this is the scale ratio for acceleration. Next, for after acceleration we have discharge. So for discharge it will be Discharge is actually area times velocity, right? So I can write it like this as area is L square and velocity is L upon T. So it will be L cube upon T. This is our discharge. So therefore QR is equal to QP upon QM, and it is equal to L cube by T for prototype upon L cube by T for model, and so it can be written as LP upon LM whole cube upon multiplied by TM upon TP. So it is LR cube multiplied by 1 upon square root of LR, and it is equal to LR to the power 2.5. This is the scale ratio for discharge. Next we have force. So force is mass multiplied by acceleration. So we can write it as mass is you can write density into volume, that is rho multiplied by L cube, and acceleration is velocity by time, and so it is, you can write as rho L square multiplied by L upon T times V, right? Taking T over here and keeping it L square separately, and taking one L, and I'll divide this T with that particular L. I can write it like this, and it will be thus become rho, this one will become V, so it will be rho L square V square. So if velocity is if force is rho L square V square, so I can write Fr is equal to Fp upon Fm, and it is equal to rho P Lp Vp square upon rho M Lm Vm square, and it is equal to rho P by rho M multiplied by Lp by Lm, this will be square, Lp by Lm whole square multiplied by Vp by Vm whole square. So now density of both the materials will be same for model and prototype, so we can neglect it. Then considering that both the model and prototype will have same density made of the same material, so we are neglecting this thing. So it will be Lp square, Lp upon Lm square, and Vp upon Vm square, and therefore it is equal to Lr square multiplied by square root of Lr square. So it is Lr cube. So this is the scale ratio for force. Next we have power, energy and pressure intensity. So for power, power is force times velocity, right? So PR is equal to PP upon PM. Now force, what we derived? Force now, right? Let's write FP upon VP upon Fm upon multiplied by Vm, and it will be equal to Fp upon Fm multiplied by Vp upon Vm. So Fp upon Fm is actually Lr cube, and force ratio is, we got it, Lr cube. It is Lr cube multiplied by Vp upon Vm is square root of Lr, and it is equal to Lr to the power 3.5. Next we have the energy, and finally we have to find the pressure intensity. So for energy, which is actually force multiplied by distance, so it is which is actually equal to the work done, and it will be having similar scale ratio for torque. Torque is also, we know, force into distance, and moment is also again force multiplied by distance. So all these three, that is energy, torque, moment, and even work done, these four things will have same scale ratios. So it is, suppose ER is equal to EP upon EM, so it is equal to Fp multiplied by Lp upon Fm multiplied by Lm, and Fp by Fm multiplied by Lp by Lm. Fp by Fm can be written as again Lr cube multiplied by Lr, and it is equal to Lr to the power 4. Finally, we have the pressure intensity. So pressure intensity is force upon area, and thus we will write PR is equal to PP upon PM, which is equal to Fp upon AP multiplied by AM upon Fm. So it is equal to Fp upon Fm multiplied by AM upon AP, and it is Lr cube multiplied by Lr square. So it is Lr cube divided by Lr square, or multiplied by 1 upon, okay, I will write it fresh. It is equal to Lr cube multiplied by 1 upon Lr square. So it is actually equal to Lr. So a ship model of scale 1 upon 50 is moved through sea water at a speed of 1 meter per second. A force of 2 Newton is required to move the model. Determine the speed of the ship and propulsive force on the ship if prototype is subjected to wave resistance only. So what we are given, that we have a scale ratio Lr is equal to 1 by 50. Scale ratio 1 is to 50 is given to us, or I will actually write 50 because the prototype will be larger. Lp upon Lm is equal to 50. The prototype is actually, it does mean that this prototype is 50 times larger than the model, and also given Vm is equal to 1 meter per second, that is the speed of the model, which is 1 meter per second, and also the force of the model is equal to 2 Newton. The force which is being applied on the model is 2 Newton. So let VP and FP are velocities and forces on prototype. So if VP and FP are velocity and forces on prototype, so VP upon VM is equal to square root of LR, because velocity ratio is square root of LR and it is equal to square root of 50. So therefore VP is equal to square root of 50 times 1, VM is 1, and it is equal to 7.071 meter per second. So we have the velocity of prototype as 7.071 meter per second. Similarly, FR is equal to FP by FM, and it is actually equal to LR to the power 3, and FP is equal to LR to the power 3 times FM. So it is equal to 50 cube times FM is 2 newtons, thus it is equal to 250000 Newton, or it is equal to, you can write as 250 kilonewton is the force acting on the prototype of the ship. So in the next question, a spillway model is to be built to geometrically similar scale 1:50 across a flume of 600 mm width. The prototype is 15 meter high and maximum head on it is expected to be 1.5 meter. What height of the model and what head on the model should be used? And if the flow over the model at a particular head is given 12 liter per second, then what flow per meter length of prototype is expected? If the negative pressure of the model is 200 mm, what is the negative pressure of the prototype? Is it practicable? So we are asked to find 3 parts of a question, and at last we are asked, is it practical or not? So what we all are given? We are given a scale ratio, a flume width, and the height of the prototype, and the maximum head expected on it. And we are asked to find the height of the model and head on the model, and if the velocity over the model at a particular head is 12 liter per second, so what flow per meter length of prototype is also expected. We are also asked for this, the flow for the prototype. And if the negative pressure is given for the model, what shall be the negative pressure in the prototype? And at last we are asked, is it practicable or not? So what we are given is, we are given scale ratio LR is equal to 50 and width of model, that is BM. So basically flume is somewhat the top width of the model. You can say it is the top width of the model, and it is given as 600 mm, and which is actually equal to 0.6 meter. Also what we are given, flow over the model, discharge to the model is QM, which is 12 liter per second, or I can write it as 0.012 meter cube per second. Also the negative pressure, suppose it is small hm, it is minus 200 mm, or it is minus 0.2 meters. And height of the prototype, capital HP, is given as 15 meter, and let's write the H dash as the head, or I'll write head for the prototype is also given as 1.5 meter. So now for linear scale ratio LR, we can say all the heights will be same, that is HP upon HN, that is height for the model and prototype will have the same ratio, and it will also have the same ratio for heads, head P upon head for model, and actually it is equal to 50. So from this we can get that HP is equal to 50 times, or you can write HM is equal to HP by 50, and it is equal to 15 by 50, and it is equal to 15 by 50, and it is equal to 0.3 meters. Similarly, head for model is given by head for prototype upon 50, and it is 1.5 by 50, and it is 0.03 meters. So we got the height of the model dam and the head in the model dam. After that, therefore the width of prototype will be BP, and that is equal to 50 times BM, and it is 50 times 0.6, and it is equal to 30 meters. So this is the width of the flume of the prototype. So this was our first part. In the second part, we are given the discharges, and QP upon QM is actually equal to LR to the power 2.5. You know the discharge scale ratio is 2.5, has power 2.5, and it is 50 to the power 2.5, and it is equal to 17,677.67. So therefore our discharge on the prototype will be QP is equal to QM multiplied by 17677.67, which is actually equal to 0.012 multiplied by 0.012 multiplied by 1777.67, and it is equal to 212.132 meter cube per second. So therefore discharge per meter length of prototype, just we have to divide it with the length, and it is equal to 212.132 divided by the length, which was 30, and it is equal to 7.07 meter cube per second per meter cube per second per meter. And next, in the third part, we have to get the negative pressure head in the prototype, and I will write it as HP, which is again equal to let's write HP upon HN is equal to LR, because it is again length given in 200 mm. So therefore HP is equal to LR multiplied by HM, and it is equal to 50 multiplied by minus 0.2, and it is equal to minus 10 meter. So we will have minus 10 meter negative pressure head in prototype. Now in the last part we are asked whether it is practicable or not. So now you must know one thing: maximum negative pressure head for water is equal to minus 7.5 meter, but we are getting it as minus 10 meter. Now since the maximum negative pressure head for water is minus 7.5 meter, therefore the negative pressure head is not practicable. So you can say that this design is not practicable for our large scale use. So in this question, if the acceleration due to gravity, viscosity and surface tension are equally important in a model, show that for dynamic similarity, the relationship between viscosity mu r, surface tension sigma and model scale ratio LR is given by this. So you can see that mu r with the suffix r, you can say that it is the ratio between the model and the prototype. You can, in other words, you can say it is a viscosity ratio, you can say it. And as now the surface tension is also considered, and gravity viscosity is also there, let us consider the Weber number ratio first. That is the Weber number ratio, that is WV, let us take it R for a relative scale, and it is equal to rho R VR square LR upon sigma R, and it is equal to 1. Let's take it equal to 1. So now after we have this, let us do one thing. It is just the square of the equation which we had studied previously in the theory. And now for viscous force, now this is for actually the surface tension. Next, for viscous force, Reynolds number, that is RE, and it is R, so it will be rho R VR square LR upon, now we will be using mu R because it is rho VD upon mu, and it is equal to, sorry, there won't be any square, rho VLR upon mu R is equal to 1. And so you can say that also for gravity force, we have the Froude number, that is Fr and bracketed by another r, which is equal to Vr upon square root of Lr, and it's equal to 1. So let's consider this Weber number ratio as equation 1, Reynolds number equation as equation 2, and this Froude number equation as equation 3. So I can say from 1, rho r Lr Vr square upon sigma r is equal to 1, or we can write that rho r Lr is equal to sigma r upon Vr square. From equation 1 I can write this. Next, from equation 2, let's consider this as equation 4, and from equation 2 I will write similarly. From equation 2 I can write this is equal to 1, and I will write rho r Lr is equal to mu r upon Vr. So it will be, from equation 2 it will be rho r Lr is equal to mu r upon Vr. So let's consider this as equation 5. So from equation 4 and 5 we can relate both of them, because this one is also equal to rho r Lr, and this is also equal to rho r Lr. So from equation 4 and 5 I can write that sigma r upon Vr square is equal to mu r upon Vr, or I can write that, let's cancel one Vr, let this be 1. I can write mu r Vr upon sigma r is equal to 1, and let's write this as equation number 6. So by Froude law relation we know that Vr is equal to square root of Lr. So by Froude law equation I have this Vr is equal to square root of Lr. I can write it, I have written it, Vr is equal to square root of Lr, and thus putting Vr as square root of Lr from equation 7. So putting 7 in 6 I will get, so in place of Vr I will write square root of Lr, and you will get mu r square root of Lr upon sigma r, it is equal to 1. And this was what we were asked to find out. So that was all about this dimension analysis, and actually this is the end of the fluid mechanics subject. So if you are having any kinds of doubt, please do not hesitate to write in the comment section, and also please like and share my video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you.